Hey everyone, Chef Jason Hill here, and St. Patrick's Day is coming up. So in honor of that, I am going to prepare a beef stew using Guinness beer. And you don't just have to make this for St. Patrick's Day, you can make it any time of the year you want. It's really good, so let's get started. Okay, first we're gonna start with about 1.5 pounds of beef chuck roast, and we're gonna trim it up and cube it up. What I mean by trimming is removing a lot of the connective tissue and the fatty parts of the beef. And to do this, you just have to take your knife, kind of carefully get underneath and take off as much as you can without digging into the beef. All right, we've trimmed up our chuck roast. Now we're gonna cube it up. And as you cut through it, you might find some pieces have a little bit of the fibrous connective tissue or fat. You can remove that if you like. All right, after we've cubed up the beef, we're gonna transfer it to a mixing bowl. Okay, we got our beef in here. I'm going to drizzle about a tablespoon of olive oil over it. Coat every piece as best you can. Next, I'm going to do a couple of pinches of kosher salt from the heavens. And we'll hit it with some fresh cracked pepper. Sorry, the bowl's moving there. And then finally, I have a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour with a pinch of cayenne in there. I'll mix that up. And we're going to dust the beef. And once again, coat it completely. Get every piece covered. You might have to do this in a couple of little steps. Okay. All right, now it's time to brown the meat. I have my saute pan on medium high. I'm going to add about another 2 tablespoons of olive oil to the pan. And then we're going to put the beef in. And try not to stir it around too much, just get it in there and let it rest, and then we'll turn it in a couple of minutes. Okay, it's been in there for a couple of minutes. See the sides are starting to brown, so I'm just going to turn them as best I can. Smells so good. Come on, turn. Okay, after another couple minutes, it's time to add our 2 cups of diced onion. Bring this together. After our onions have cooked down a little bit, we're going to add a tablespoon of garlic shallot puree or 4 cloves of smashed garlic. Mix that around. Uh-oh, lost a couple onions. Okay, you can smell the garlic. The onions are cooking down. Now it's time to add a 1/4 cup of tomato sauce. Okay, now it's time to transfer the beef to a big casserole, or not casserole dish. What is that dish? To a big Dutch oven. Put that back on. Turn our slow cooker on to medium high. Let's grab our Guinness. Okay, the recipe calls for 15 ounces of a strong stout, which we're using Guinness. And this is an 11-ounce bottle, so we're gonna need 2 of these. Okay, the pan is still on medium high. I'm going to probably use about 8 ounces of the beer here. And now we're just going to deglaze this pan by scraping the bottom. And I have a high temp rubber spatula here so it can stand up to this. A wooden spoon would also work good here. We just want to get all that tasty goodness from the bottom of the pan. In the meantime, I'm going to tend to the other pot and let this come to a boil, which it's almost there. Won't take long because this pan was piping hot. Our beer is boiling. It's time to transfer this to our beef. And like I said, this calls for 15 ounces of beer, so we had about 8. And I'm going to add the rest of the bottle, which was 11.2. And then another few from another bottle. What am I going to do with this leftover Guinness? The stew is starting to come back to a boil. At this point, I'm going to pour in about 1.5 cups of beef broth. Followed by a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And then our veggies. A cup of carrots, a cup of celery, and 1 cup of diced parsnips. And some Yukon Gold and diced red potatoes. I'm going to probably just add about 1 cup. The spuds. The spuds, as they say in Ireland. The spuds. Okay, we're going to bring this to a hard boil. You can't forget the thyme sprigs, fresh thyme. Let's just drop that in there like that. Oh man. Still have a ways to go, but we're getting there. Now once the stew comes back to a boil, I'm going to put a lid on. I'm going to turn it to low and simmer for about 2 to 3 hours. All right, there we have it. A perfect Guinness beef Irish stew. Let's serve up. Okay, at this point you might want to take a taste test just to see if we need to season it. A little more salt or pepper. We're good. Let's go ahead and dress it up. I like to serve my beef stew in little individual ramekins and top it with some puff pastry just to dress it up a little bit. So let's go ahead and do that. And this has cooled down a little bit, so it's not piping hot right now. But it's going to go into the oven and get back up to temperature. You don't want to go all the way to the top because you don't want the stew to touch your puff pastry or that it won't rise up. You want to get this as tight as you can across the top of your bowl, like a drum. And then I just brush it with a little bit of egg wash before it goes in the oven. And this egg wash is just one little scrambled up egg. Okay, the oven's been preheating at 425. We're going to slide it in there and check it in 20 minutes. Okay, after 20 minutes, it is ready. All right, let's dig in. Break through the surface here, get to that wholesome goodness in here. Get a little bit of bread too for the bite. All right, here we go. That is one good Guinness Irish stew. Give this recipe a try. Have a happy St. Patrick's Day. Thanks for tuning in. For more simple and delicious recipes, click on these links. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.